Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today we're going to talk about the spell Create Food and Water in the Doctor spell Prognosis. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or a comment. All right, we are giving this spell a C-, almost a D+. This is one of those super situational niche spells that probably won't come up very often at all, and you don't need to prepare it, memorize it, choose it as a slot, whatever, until you absolutely need it. But when you need it, you're going to need it, and it's pretty much the only spell that it's not the only thing, but it is something that could be used as an answer for as a solution for one particular problem. So it is a third level spell. I am not sure why this is a third level spell. I just don't understand it. I think it should be like a first level spell or a second level spell. Like Goodberry is first level. This should be like the second level version of that. And actually, Goodberry, in my opinion, is a better spell because it heals damage. This would be really great if it healed damage. So it takes one action, range of 30 feet, verbal and somatic, and you create 45 pounds of food. It's bland and nutritious, nourishing, but it's not fantastical or great like the picture in the thumbnail. And you also create 30 gallons of water on the ground or in containers within range. So the food is enough to sustain 15 humanoids or 5 steeds. Now, they don't define the word steed. Steed can mean a lot of different things. I can ride a horse. I can ride a brontosaurus. I can ride an ox. I can ride a giant goat. I can ride a dragon, a hippogriff, a griffin, blah, 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 on and on and on. So what does the word steed mean? To me, it means something the equivalent size of a horse. And a rhinoceros is not the same size as a horse. Size-wise, it's roughly the same height, the same length, but it is definitely not the same weight. But there are some horses, like Clydesdale horses, that are bigger than other horses. So I would say any large creature. 15 humanoids or any 5 large creatures. Not huge, but large. So again, it says the food is bland but nourishing and spoils if uneaten within 24 hours. So it'll sustain them for 24 hours. And then the water is clean and doesn't go bad. Now, what is the problem that I was talking about earlier? Well, the problem that I was talking about earlier is if you are in a game where you need to constantly be on the lookout for food for your group. So, if we go to the player's handbook and we go to using ability scores, there is one particular skill in here that is a wisdom skill, survival, that track, hunt wild game, there it is right there, guide you through wastelands, identify silent sign. I don't know why they put that owlbears live nearby. Predict the weather, avoid quicksand, other natural hazards. So the big one is hunt wild game. It doesn't really explain that very well, but this is one of the ways that you can get food for your party if you need to get food. Now there is another way, and that is, and D&D doesn't really do a good job of explaining food gathering. Pathfinder does a much better job at it. It's metriced. So there is a number behind it. This just kind of says you can do a thing and then the DM can make up the answer. So if you're one of these players that really wants like the numerical answer, D&D does not going to do a good job with this. So with Rangers, there is the Natural Explorer. You can't become lost. When you forage, you find twice as much food as you normally would. But it doesn't really, give an answer as to foraging and what that actually means. If we go up to the search bar and we put forage in there, we don't get a whole lot. So let's go to compendium. Food and drink, foraging is in Out of the Abyss, Natural Explorer, Dungeon Masters Guild, foraging, or Dungeon Masters Guide has a foraging thing. Natural Explorer, again, they're both in the basic or the player's handbook. Dehydration is in the Tomb of Annihilation. There's really not a whole lot. Activity while traveling. Let's look at that. Let's see. Activity while traveling. Marching, stealth, noticing, forage. Character can keep an eye out for ready sources of food tomorrow and wake a survival check when the DM calls for it. And then there's rules in the DMG for foraging. Here it is right here. DCs, how much food per day, how much water per day. So there are alternate ways to this spell that you can get food. But the create food and water spell is an easy way to just create food automatically if needed for whatever reason. And let's go back to the spell here. And there's the spell. So again, it is an easy way that you don't have to make foraging checks, but you can always make foraging checks if you're in an area where there's food. If there's food sources not available, like if you're in a desert, it's probably harder to forage, or it's a higher DC, or if you're in the Plane of Abyss or the Nine Hells or Pandemonium or something where there absolutely is no food, then this spell is critical for your survival if your DM brings this in and brings this level of realism to the game. All right, so that's what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.